Hi, I'm Daniel Butler. Welcome to another edition of America's Dumbest Criminals. On this episode of America's Dumbest Criminals, a cramped crook in stuffed turkey, some creeping critters in swamp things, a taunting car robber, a pair of lame ducks in safe quackers. On America's Dumbest Criminals. And now here's your host, Daniel Butler. Ultimately, everything we do in this life prepares us for something else coming our way in the future, as this dumb criminal was about to find out. A man tried to rob a local restaurant in Los Angeles and managed to get in, take what he needed, and then make his way back out through the ventilation shaft. However, as he was slithering his way out, he slipped and fell down an adjoining segment of the system where he became stuck. After an hour of screaming for help, the fire and police department showed up to unstuff this turkey. After several hours of cutting, twisting, and pulling, they managed to remove the canned ham from his tin. But he probably didn't realize that the quiet time he had just spent in the small, confined space with no way out was just a sneak preview of how things would be for him over the next 5 to 10 years behind bars. There's a reason people used to ask, who was that masked man when the Lone Ranger rode out of town? Because masks draw attention, which is fine for heroes, but not so fine for dumb villains. In Milwaukee, a woman with crime in her heart and a ski mask on her head walked into a check cashing store. Since the temperature was warm, the teller thought something was going on. And it was, but not the robbery attempt she expected.
Hi, I'd like to cash this. Do you have some identification? Yeah? Can you take the mask off?
Not even close. The check and license were obviously stolen.
You'd better fill this out.
While the unknown forger tried to remember her fake name, the teller called the police, who arrived quickly and arrested the dumb criminal. And despite her lawyer's request, the woman was not allowed to wear her mask for her mugshot. Officer Mark Castile of Garland, Texas, and his partner were in pursuit of 3 robbery suspects, making their getaway in a stolen car. Now, they were close enough to the car to identify them as 3 African-American youths. They chased them off the highway into a field of grass about waist high. Their driver runs into a tree stump, and one of the youths takes off with the officers in hot pursuit. They corner their man and get him into custody when...
All of a sudden, about 20 feet from us, out of the grass, this white guy stands up, throws his hands up. I give. We're like, who's this? Who's this guy? And they come out of the car. So one of the officers with me runs over and grabs this guy. I go, who are you? About this time, some Dallas officers come up from around this building. He was a burglary suspect they'd been looking for. So we captured 2 birds with 1 stone.
2 birds in the hand, both caught in the bush. Go figure. Here's a story about 2 thieves on the run who ran the wrong way. An officer just happened to be patrolling a half block away from the car they decided to break into. The 2 men were still trying to open the door when the officer pulled up. They chose to run through a thicket that only led to a large swamp area, no other way out. The officer pulled his car over and noticed the thieves' car parked nearby and saw a man pretending to be asleep in the driver's seat. On closer inspection, the officer noticed that the back seat was filled with radios and car stereos. This was their getaway driver. The drowsy driver was arrested, and that's when the officer came up with an idea. Donning the driver's cap and jacket, the officer climbed into the getaway car and lightly honked the horn, as if signaling for the 2 to come out. After noticing that the nearby police car was empty, the 2 shivering stooges came running out of the swamp and right into the camouflaged cop's hand. The swamp sickles were arrested and immediately sent to the cooler.
If I were you, I'd drop the remote now.
And now, Crimes of the Week. with Daniel Butler and Beaumont Bacon.
We have a new set.
We do.
Yes,
The
we
world is constantly changing. Hi, I'm Daniel Butler, and this is Beaumont Bacon.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Glad to be here.
How are you?
I'm just dandy, thank you.
Well, then you're doing much better than the guy in our first story.
Tell me all about it.
He was pulled over for a minor traffic violation. Now, the officer discovered that this man was driving without a valid driver's license.
Yeah.
Now, according to the law, the car had to be impounded. A relative picked him up at the station, and he was sent on his way. So,
There you go. Well, I'm sure he learned his lesson then.
evidently not, Beaumont. Less than a half hour later, the same officer was back out on patrol and was stopped at a light and noticed another car pull up beside him at the light.
Yeah?
It was the same guy he had just arrested, only in a different car now. He was arrested again, and this car had to be impounded too.
Ouch! That's
Yeah.
twice there.
Yeah, but it was an ouch he shared with the whole family.
mean?
Well, see, the cars were not his. They belonged to two different family members, and each was impounded for 30 days each and cost him around $1,200.
Ouch! Again!
You don't want to do that in your big brother's car.
No, well, I'm sure he'll think twice before asking his father if he can borrow the car.
Yeah,
Can I
hopefully.
borrow it? It's not coming back. It's being impounded. Well, this next woman, she didn't even bother to ask if she could borrow the car.
Mistake number one.
There you go. An officer had pulled this woman over for drunk driving. Thank God. I mean, obviously she was weaving and he knew something was going on.
Yeah.
However, she knew she was drunk, and she was very honest about it. She goes, "You know what, officer? I'm drunk, so just take me to jail," which he planned to do anyway.
Wow.
He cuffed her and put her in the back of the patrol car while he talked to the passenger that was in the car with her. So he was over there talking when this drunken damsel, she decided to make her move. What she did is she crawled from the back seat into the front seat of the cruiser and drove off, just leaving the stunned officer standing there.
Mistake number two.
And of course, they've got that camera there, so you know you're going to see the whole thing.
Yeah.
She's playing with the siren and the buttons. She was having fun. And the best part about this is that she didn't hightail it out of the country. She didn't hightail it out of the city. No. What she did is she drove right to the police station and she turned herself in.
Oh, well, how nice.
She must have sobered up, I guess, and had a little flash of sanity there.
I guess so.
Basically, what she said, though, she got tired of waiting on the officer, so she decided to finish the job herself.
Okay, service. You sisters are doing it for yourselves.
Thank
all right?
you. Yeah, we're standing on our own 2 feet and driving ourselves straight to jail.
Gosh, you've come a long way, baby. Well, these two goofs didn't drive themselves to the station, but they did manage to call for a ride. It seems that two guys had decided to steal the change out of a payphone in Gloucester, New Jersey.
Wow, they are high.
Yeah, it was the most money in one place in
I guess.
Gloucester, I think. What they didn't realize was that with all of their banging and pulling, they had accidentally hit the 911 buttons on the phone.
You have to be pretty dumb. I mean, those buttons are this.
That's luck, baby. And it was a free call, remember, okay?
It was.
Officers showed up a few moments later, collected the change gang, and deposited them quickly into jail.
That was a hard thing to say.
No deposit, no return.
No deposit, no return. Which brings us to our next section, our favorite section of the whole show, which is
Idiots of the Week. From all of the stories we received this week, thousands, this one is our favorite.
There's a plethora.
A plethora.
Let me just...
Cornucopia.
There's a cornucopia of submissions here. A Montana officer made a routine traffic stop on a car that appeared to be going a bit faster than the posted limit.
Just a skosh.
Just a tad. A skinky little bit. The officer found a very happy driver, more than willing to retrieve her license. And so, like any woman, she goes to her purse, the dope that she was, searching for her ID in her bag.
This could take an hour.
This could take a while. The officers are going left foot, right foot, waiting for her, pulling out lipstick, looking for her identification. And one of the things she did pull out, she's placing all these items up on the dashboard. The officer noticed a coffee cup full of rolled joints, and he pointed them out to the Spacey Tracy, who barely reacted as the officer cuffed her and gave the stoner a back row seat for the next showing of Driving Miss Hazy.
No one under 17 admitted without a warrant. A registered nurse will be on duty. This father and son reunion would have been more touching if Dad had brought some brains along with him as well. Our dumb dad came to pick up his son from prison, a facility that he had once been a guest of as well. His peculiar behavior led to a police check. It revealed a warrant for Papa's arrest in Alaska. But Papa wasn't alone. He'd brought 3 friends along for the gala reunion. They all were wanted too. And their party favors included guns, booze, and drugs. At least Dad and his friends can call the son for a ride if they ever get released. It was sort of a fairy tale. You know, some criminals claim they were led to a life of crime by an unhappy childhood, urban poverty, or improper toilet training. This next loser went down the wrong path purely by choice. While on patrol, an officer noticed a guy drinking while he was driving and quickly pulled him over. The man didn't appear to be intoxicated and lived just a few blocks away, so the officer was just going to give the guy a break. Until...
Why don't you go ahead and hand me that beer right there?
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
All right. I see you have another one on the seat over there.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to hand me that one, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in the States, you can't have an open container.
Oh, you can't?
No. Can't have any beer in the car either.
Oh, yeah? Well, I really need this beer, sir, so do you mind if I just...
You really need this beer.
Yeah.
You realize that I'm offering you here a chance to avoid an $80 ticket,
Oh, you are?
plus all the taxes that go with it, the state and the county, everything put with it. You know, and I really don't want to write this ticket. You know, I'm trying to give you a break and be a fair man
It's
about
all right.
it.
It's all right. Just write it up. I really need this beer.
You really need a beer that bad.
Yeah.
the officer wrote the ticket and followed the man home where he could legally enjoy his $80 can of beer.
Coming up next on America's Dumbest Criminals, a lesson in law. ATM. And a drunk driver takes a cop car.
You have the right to remain seated.
Here's a story about a purse thief who left more than just the scene of the crime. After this woman used her ATM card at a local machine, a man suddenly appeared from nowhere, grabbed her purse, and took off running. As the man ran away, the victim noticed something fall out of his shirt pocket. It was a Visa card.
He dropped this. I found this on the ground.
Oh, he did, huh? Shh, dropped his card. Okay. Well, we'll hang on to this. It's probably a stolen card, but you never know, as it could have belonged to him.
A week later, the officer was notified by bank security that the card had not been stolen, and in fact, they even furnished a picture of the last person to use the victim's card at an ATM. Lo and behold, it was our purse snatcher. In fact, he was wearing the same outfit from the night of the purse snatching. With positive identification clearly established, all the police had to do was ATM. Arrest the moron. You've met one at every party. I can drive, there's nothing wrong with me, as he staggers to his car. Well, on this occasion, the moron got a mile down the road when he was apprehended by the law. Just as they put him in the car, the two officers were notified of a robbery half a block from their present position. Telling him to stay put, the two officers raced off to the scene of the crime. After a long wait, the party king decided to drive home. And when he got there, he told his wife that if anyone is looking for him, he's gone to bed with the flu and has been in all day. A few hours later, the police knocked on the door. They asked for Mr. Simpson, and she repeated the story about him being in all day with the flu. Well, they said they had his driver's license and would like to see his car. She took them to the garage, and when she opened it, there it was. Their police car, parked in the garage with the lights still flashing.
Ma'am, I have a question for you. Your car would have to be painted black and white now, would it?
Gee, officer, how did that get there? I guess he just hadn't noticed the disco effect in the garage when he got home. Gosh, you know, I hate to see a grown man cry. And that's what two security guards in Honolulu found when they chased a shoplifter out into the parking lot. The man had just dashed into a store and grabbed 6 leather handbags with the intention of making off with them. Security had been notified and were chasing the man out into the lot. When they got there, they found him next to his car, crying.
Oh, no! Come on. Stop your crying. There's no reason to cry, you know.
I locked my keys in the car.
He's right. Oh, man.
You want to call AAA and get your keys out?
Don't you just hate when you do that? Daggum. And now a story about a dysfunctional duo who are professional safe quackers.
Yeah.
These two men broke into a store in Twin Falls, Idaho. They weren't able to open the safe, so they stole it. Perhaps they thought the combination would change with the location. But when the stolen safe wouldn't fit into their hatchback, they went to plan B, steal a friend's pickup. While the perplexed pair were out committing grand theft auto, the store owner came back and found his safe sitting in the alleyway. The store owner called the police, who arrived in moments. The officer advised him to remove the money and leave the safe right where it was. The police police hid in the shadows, and sure enough, in less than an hour, the pair were back. The police watched as they struggled with the safe until they got it into the back of the pickup truck. That's when they closed in and arrested them. I'm sure you'll all rest easier tonight knowing that these two diabolical masterminds of crime are off the streets and behind bars. Oh, yeah.
You, step away from the remote.
Why is Missouri the show-me state? Because it files cases like this one, where an irate attorney showed off more than his knowledge of the law.
A Jefferson County patrolman got an earful when he stopped a lawyer for speeding. Opening argument was a lecture on the inaccuracy of radar units, followed by a questioning of the officer's maternal origin. Closing argument was a personal observation that the officer would perhaps be better suited for the position of roadkill collector. You're a witness.
Officer, come on now. We're on the same team here, all right? I'm an attorney, you're a cop.
I understand.
We're on the same team. Let's not go too much. I know those radar guns they don't work right.
Exhibit number 1. Missouri State driver's license, credit cards, and Maui Wowie.
I hope you know a good attorney.
Apparently, passing the bar is no guarantee of intelligence. And as this attorney learned, knowing the law doesn't do much good unless you obey it. This next surveillance tape shows a very self-centered suspect who stole a Volvo and then led police on a high-speed chase through a very busy end of town just to draw attention to himself. Well, nobody likes a show-off because everything has to revolve around them. It's all me, me, me. Look at me, I've stolen a car. Hey, and I'm a bad dancer, too. I'm on the run. Hey, I don't know what you're all mad about. I'm going to jail. For me. He's going to need to make an attitude adjustment real quick if he plans to get along well with others. In jail, that is. Well, our bungling buffet is now closing, but please join us next week as we serve up another heaping helping of hapless hoodlums here on America's Dumbest Criminals.
On the next America's Dumbest Criminals, you'll see these big dumb stories.
Hey, whoa, what's going on here?
A confused crook in courting trouble. A bungled burglary in Batter Up. A felon is a dumbin' in the rough.
Got some more in here. You want to take one? Got some more in there, huh?
The restaurant roof clown. All these dumb crimes and more on the next America's Dumbest Criminals.